So I'd like to just do a bit of a summary of some of the things that you can start to do in your day-to-day that will improve your hormone health. And this is stuff that we have already covered, but it's nice to have a summary slide for you guys to use or take notes from. I would say definitely cut back on processed foods. They tend to have higher levels of unhealthy fats and other exposures, not great for hormone health, as we've talked about. Eating more plant-based foods is wonderful. So you've got plenty of fiber to boost your hormonal regulation. Fermented foods to help feed your gut buddies, your microbiome, things like miso, sauerkraut, tempeh, and also to help your absorption of other nutrients. Minimally processed soy products daily are great, especially if you're menopausal. But I would say just if you have a thyroid imbalance, to be careful that you're having enough iodine and selenium so that you ensure that you're getting all the things that you need. Perhaps eating a handful of nuts a day and avocados for healthy fats is going to be really helpful. And sprinkling a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds on your food each day for healthy omega-3 fatty acids. They can go in smoothies or curries or in your baking or mixed in with your yogurts. You can get great coconut yogurts. I don't know if they're available in the US, but certainly in the UK, there are some lovely coconut yogurts that have probiotics within them as well. Move your body. Remember that your lymphatic system relies on your body moving to get your lymph around the body, which is important because that is how your immune cells are also able to transport around the body. So remember to take that walk or go to the gym or do whatever you need to do at home to move your body and have fun. I also, again, just want to touch on minimizing plastics within our diet and within our lifestyle in general, again, to help improve that hormonal symphony. Now, we touched on some herbs that would be helpful for menopause, but I'd say generally using herbs and spices is really helpful for all sorts of reasons. Turmeric and ginger I've mentioned for period pains, but also things like sage and parsley and mint and cardamom. They're all packed full of antioxidants and polyphenols. And herbal teas are your friend as well. A lovely way of getting more antioxidants whilst also curbing your appetite if you get the evening munchies, which many of us do. Eating tryptophan-rich foods is great for our mental health. Pumpkin seeds and butternut squash, for example. Limiting fizzy drinks, as I mentioned. And also magnesium is helpful. It regulates your cortisol levels, and you can get that from Epsom bath salts, green leafy veggies, almonds, and dark chocolates as well. So this is a nice slide from the Canadian Food Guidelines, just to remind you to eat a lovely variety of whole plant foods. And as you know from what we've learned today together, this can boost your serotonin, increase your micronutrient profile, boost your tryptophan availability, reduce homocysteine levels, and remember to mix up your spices and flavors so you can get different sensations and textures. And so, yeah, I think another good tip is try not to let the food industry fool you into reaching for those junk food options by improving the amounts of different textures that you include in your day-to-day, like dipping a crunchy carrot into creamy hummus, to vary the textures in your mouth. You can use flavors to your advantage, new spice mixes, miso paste, for example, hoisin. In the UK, we have something called Marmite, which is essentially a brewer's yeast extract containing vitamin B12. You can add that to soups or stews, as well as putting it onto toast. These are all great ways of increasing the flavor in our dishes without increasing the empty calorific content of our food. Another nice tip is to aim to follow the 5-ingredient rule when you're out buying foods at the shops. So, you know, if that helps you to buy something with less processing, it can be a useful tip. I do like to talk about ensuring that you have vitamin B12 supplementation, especially if you're completely plant-based. I also like to advise long chain omega-3 fatty acids from algae or algae oil supplementation, which you can get relatively easily now instead of fish oils. It's the purest form of long chain omega-3 fatty acids. And yes, it's a lovely way of ensuring that you have good omega-3 content, as well as having things like flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and walnuts for your plant-based omega-3s. And I've also touched before on the importance of vitamin D, but I've just wanted to mention it here again in the supplement section. Now, I thought it would be worth mentioning, because many people talk about brain fog. Many people are concerned about the changes around menopause, for example, but also just generally as we get older, where our hormones can contribute towards what we call brain fog. And there are other ways that we can use to sort of help improve our focus and our ability to use our minds as we get older. And I thought I should touch on sleep. We really want to aim for about 7 to 10 hours of sleep a night if we can. And this is important because during sleep, the body and brain undergoes recovery and repair. It uses this time to sort of clear out toxins and metabolic waste in that self-cleaning process called autophagy. So it's definitely worth prioritizing sleep where you can. And sleep deprivation can cause cognitive impairment, and also reduced function of our immune system. So it's definitely worth prioritizing sleep. Moving our bodies, as I've mentioned before, is something that we tend to neglect often. And I myself am included in that. But I really have aimed more recently over the last few years to prioritize movement. Spread it out over the week if you can. Now, our guidelines in the UK suggest that you should aim for 150 minutes a week of moderate exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous exercise. And if you can spread it out, then all the better. This can improve your learning and memory, and also reduce your risk of dementia by increasing BDNF, which I mentioned earlier with regard to turmeric supplementation for period pain. Alcohol can increase our anxiety, it can impair our concentration, it can impair our sleep quality, and it increases our risk of dementia. It increases our risk of cancer. Basically, although many people enjoy alcohol, it's really not our friend, especially as we go to menopause and beyond. So if you're somebody that uses alcohol to relax and unwind of an evening, really aim to consider reducing your intake wherever you can, for long-term brain health and hormone health. And again, I know that we talked about hormones in relation to menopause, herbs in relation to menopause, but it's also helpful to talk about herbs in relation to brain health as we get older, and turmeric, ashwagandha, sage, lion's mane mushroom. These are all really helpful for improving our concentration, reducing our anxiety, and hopefully also improving our insomnia as well. Right, we're nearing the end of this presentation. Thank you so much for joining me. I just want to end with a little bit of a recognition that eating is an emotional thing. We're all different, and we make unconscious food choices far more than we make conscious ones. Often the things that we choose to eat depend on what we grew up eating, what our parents ate, what our friends eat, what the easiest food is to eat. So finding motivations is really important. So just think to yourself as you watch this lecture, what it is that you're looking forward to doing with your healthy lifestyle. What are you looking forward to achieving with this healthy lifestyle? Are you looking forward to feeling anything different? Hopefully, if you can focus on these things, as well as the values that are important to you, it will help you to make more conscious decisions when it comes to the things that you're eating. And it will also help you to make some simple swaps when it comes to your daily or weekly shopping lists. And I do think that luckily, one of the easiest things that you can start with when you're thinking about lifestyle changes is the things that you put on the end of your fork. And hopefully, if you can do that, then it can make some of the other changes a little bit easier to imagine. So yeah, I think that loving the foods that love you back means that you find yourself with a little bit more love for life as well. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I'm obviously happy to stay and answer any questions that you have. If you'd like to talk to me afterwards, then please do follow me on Instagram at plantpowerdoctor, where you can message me or you can email me via my website. And I will also just pop up here. There's a few reference slides that you might be interested to look at so that you yourself can look at some of the studies that I talked about in today's talk. And if you wish to screenshot them, they're here, they're available. So you can dive in and hopefully look at some of these studies yourself if you are somebody that is a bit of a geek like me. Also in my book, actually, there's an awful lot of references. There are nearly 600 of all different types of conditions: heart health, cancer, immune health, gut health, plant-based eating for all ages. But it's also a very accessible book. So there's plenty of color, recipes and pictures to keep you going. So thank you so much, everybody.